Good afternoon, everybody. This is going to be a different type of story time. It's not really one story. I'm going to call it like a montage of stupid things some stupid troopers have done. And I'm not knocking the Delaware State Police, but like any job, there's some ones that fall through the cracks, so to speak. So I'm going to tell you some short, funny stories about some really stupid stuff that some troopers. A lot of it's just this one trooper. He was a multiple offender, highly intelligent trooper, but lacking common sense terribly. But there was one trooper. I'm not going to mention their names or anything like that. Not last names anyway. This was the old days. This is when I was growing up. I heard this story and I laughed so hard. You have to know your jurisdiction, your boundaries, and stuff like that. Well, there was Route 52, which was the road leading into Chatsford, Pennsylvania, and there was this Delaware State trooper who, for whatever reason, couldn't read the "Welcome to Pennsylvania" sign or whatever, but he was running radar on Route 1 in Westchester, Pennsylvania, and writing people tickets, right? Giving people speeding tickets. So the desk sergeant heard he was pulling people over by a place called Longwood Gardens. Very, very beautiful place. It's just a beautiful place. But so they told him, like 1019, basically a return to the troop, got to fix your problem. So Delaware State trooper writing speeding tickets in Pennsylvania. That's a good one. I wasn't a dispatcher yet, but I was still very close friends with that trooper that I told you pretty much raised me, what have you. So that was one. Then this is now pretty much most of the rest of these, I think, are going to be the same trooper doing stupid stuff. But he he was dressed in this tuxedo, right, with a tall, like one of those top hats and stuff like that. Well, he was off duty one day, and he tries to pull someone over for suspected like DUI or something, and it turned into a big poop storm. And can you imagine the perception? Someone being pulled over by someone in a top hat and a tuxedo, right? How the optics of that would have looked. I probably wouldn't have stopped either. So there were some problems there. And I will say the trooper's first name was Reggie, so everybody called them Reggieisms. So Reggieisms, man, there was a bunch of them. So there was an area called Black Cat. It was a little intersection, US 13 and 14. And everybody, a lot of the troopers would take a break. There was a 7-Eleven right there. So he would always call it forget what the code was, 10-7 at 7-Eleven. He called it blacktop. Everything that came out of his mouth was a Reggieism. It was too darn funny. So so here's another one. He's working out of Troop 9, which is the most southern troop in Newcastle County. And all of a sudden he reports on the radio, he's leaving the state, giving his mileage, and he's en route to the Philadelphia International Airport, right? So Sergeant Gray says, have 32, forget what his call sign, 32 David, I think was what it was. Have him come over to low band. He says, why are you leaving the state going to Philadelphia Airport? And he heard Sergeant Gray already had up to here with all the Reggieisms. So he tells him, no, turn around. So what the trooper was doing, this is so darn funny. And you have to, when you're driving down the road, a truck kicks up a rock and puts a chip in your windshield. So he rather than just writing it up like that, it's reported, the insurance company, everybody's going to be notified. Most people have a deductible, whatever. So rather than just writing it up as a unknown object, he writes it up as unknown object must have fallen out of aircraft. And he was going to the Philadelphia airport to try and find out what aircraft was flying over that airspace at that time, and dropped this little tiny stone on the windshield. So that was another Reggieism. Then one night he's working 32 or 34 sector. I think he was 32 Adam or 34 Adam. Adam meant you work like 10 p.m. to 6 in the morning, whatever. So he pulls someone over, suspected DUI. He gets talking to them and everything. He's convinced that they're drunk. He says, well, follow me down the road. We're going to go over here to court 11. So he allows the suspected DUI driver to drive and follow him. So he follows him about a mile down the road to court 11, and then gives him the sobriety test there at court 11, and then arrests him right there on the spot and everything. Yeah, that didn't fly too well in court, because if you think they're drunk, you don't let them drive. That's the whole premise of what the trooper is supposed to do: keep people off the road. You don't permit them to drive a little further. So that was another Reggieism. Then there was he would go to court and he would just make up all this data. Like, so yeah, the suspect finished in the 67th percentile of this, and he was making up all. So the attorney's like, well, Trooper so-and-so, Trooper Reggie, how did you where did you come up with these percentiles? And he's like, he sounded real smart until he got quizzed, and he had no idea where he made up those numbers. Oh, Reggie, my man, what are you doing to the reputation of the DSP? So that was one. Oh man, there's so many. There was this is really funny. Like, I got to try and keep this clean. There was Delaware State Police 2, the old State Police barracks. It was a real nice brick building, and then there was like a hedgerow, and right next to it was an adult bookstore. And a lot of shady characters would hang out there, especially because, like, on the other side of the Delaware State Police was like a Greyhound bus station. So it tended to draw a lot of undesirables to that location. So one night there was a break-in at this adult bookstore, and they're investigating it. And Sergeant Grace says he contacts the Trooper Reggie, and he says, "Hey, I'm trying to get a hold of Corporal Smith, whoever it was. I know he was trying to reach a corporal. I forget what trooper. It doesn't matter the name, but he says, where can I reach someone?" And he gives him the phone number, and the phone number was the phone number of the adult bookstore. So he answers, "Ray's Adult Bookstore, Trooper Reggie, blank, his last name." And Sergeant Grace, "Reggie, you dumb beep, beep, beep," said, "Put Corporal so-and-so." So he was like, he did the stupidest stuff. I don't know if he ever finally got terminated, but man, he had a long list of Reggieisms. And it was sad, but those are true stories. I'm sure I've forgotten probably 20 more, but those are some of the ones I wanted to share with you guys today. Hopefully you can laugh a little bit with me, and God knows what happened to some of those poor citizens out there on the road due to some of those Reggieisms. But anyway, folks, respect the thin blue line when you can. Thank you.